Lucy sat at her cluttered desk in the bustling real estate office in Boston, her fingers dancing over the keyboard. The sound of phones ringing and conversations buzzing filled the air, but her mind was elsewhere. At 32, she had cultivated a highly skilled career as a real estate agent, yet deep down she longed for something more. Her old passion for nursing, a world she had left behind when life took unexpected turns. With a glance at her phone, she saw a message from her cousin Julia. The family dinner is live streaming. A mix of excitement and anxiety surged through her. Tonight was supposed to be a celebration of her hard work, but she couldn't shake the feeling that her mother, Linda, might have something less than flattering to say about her choices. Lucy had devoted the last 5 years not only to her job, but also to supporting her mother, who had been battling rheumatoid arthritis. The disease consumed Linda's life and drained the family's finances. To keep up with the mounting medical bills, over $120,000, Lucy had sacrificed her nursing aspirations, a decision that weighed heavily on her heart. The dinner commenced, and Lucy joined through her laptop, trying to mask her unease with a smile. As family members shared laughter and stories, she felt an underlying tension. Then it happened. Amidst the clamor of voices, Linda raised her glass and made a toast. To Lucy, my daughter, the real estate agent. Such a success. Too bad she never finished nursing school. Talk about a desperate failure. The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Lucy's breath caught in her throat as she felt her cheeks flush with humiliation. Her heart raced as she quickly typed a message to Julia, who was at the dinner. What did she just say? Julia's response came in a hurry. I know. I'm so sorry, Em. This is live, and it's too late to stop it. In that moment, the weight of her mother's disdain settled heavily upon her. Lucy's dreams felt just out of reach, tainted by the harsh judgment of the one person whose approval she craved most. Feeling the call of her neglected passions, Lucy postponed the conference she had planned to attend in Providence. She decided she wouldn't attend just to put on a brave face. Instead, she spent the night documenting her sacrifices in detail. Hours worked overtime, the diploma she never received, and moments she lost due to the demanding situation at home. As she created a folder etched with her reality, a sense of resolve began to build within her. It was time to confront not just her mother, but herself. She wanted to reclaim her life, to be not just a caretaker, but a woman pursuing her dreams unapologetically. After a sleepless night, Lucy met Mark, her supportive colleague, the next day for coffee. He'd always been someone who understood her struggles without judgment, and as they talked, the weight on her shoulders began to lift. I can't believe she said that, he said, disbelief written across his face. You've done more than most for her. You deserve to follow your dreams. Emboldened by his encouragement, Lucy shared her plan to confront her mother. I have to show her how much I've sacrificed. Maybe then she'll stop seeing me as a failure, she admitted. Mark nodded. You're not a failure, Lucy. You're strong. But you need to be free of this burden. The conversation fueled her determination. Lucy began to strategize how she'd break the cycle, both for herself and for Linda. It wouldn't be easy, but she recognized that change could only come from within. As the days passed, Lucy laid the groundwork for the confrontation she desperately needed. She'd prepare for the storm, but she also knew she had to do it with grace. When the moment arrived, she would not only speak her truth, but reclaim her narrative. And as she planned her steps forward, a sense of liberation began to stir inside her, one she hadn't felt in years. Lucy was ready to take the first leap into a new world, one that was all her own. Lucy spent the following days in a haze, the sting of her mother's words echoing in her mind like a relentless refrain. Each morning she sat at her desk, immersed in her real estate paperwork, yet her heart was heavy with unfulfilled dreams. As she broke down her daily routine, her thoughts involuntarily drifted back to her nursing aspirations, each memory a bittersweet reminder of what could have been. She recalled her long nights studying anatomy and physiology, filled with hopes of donning scrubs and helping others heal. Friends had teased her for taking the nursing path, joking that it was a thankless career. But it was never thankless to Lucy. It was her calling. Stepping into the world of real estate had felt like stepping off her chosen path, a decision propelled by the weight of familial responsibility and financial obligation. As Lucy sat in her favorite cafe, the scent of freshly brewed coffee and pastries surrounding her, she pulled out her notebook, determined to document every sacrifice she had made. The list began with the obvious, abandoning her nursing degree. As her pen scratched the paper, the memories came flooding back. Volunteer shifts at the local hospital, missing out on countless weekends spent with friends, helping others while she could have been studying. Endless overtime hours. Working nights and weekends in real estate just to cover her mother's medical bills that slowly amassed like a mountain she could never fully climb. And then there was the emotional toll. The moments lost with her friends, the holidays spent at home rather than with loved ones, and the burden of watching her mother's health decline while feeling trapped in a role she never signed up for. As she continued to write, a sense of clarity emerged. Each bullet point represented not just sacrifice, but strength. Lucy was not merely a victim of her circumstances. She was an architect of her life. The realization that she had the power to reclaim that life fueled a fire within her. Later that week, Lucy met Mark for coffee again, her spirits slightly lifted by her newfound resolve. They settled into their usual corner table, sunlight filtering through the window, casting a warm glow around them. "You seem different today," Mark noted, taking a sip of his coffee. "What's changed?" "I'm done being the good daughter who can't pursue her own dreams," Lucy declared, a spark igniting in her eyes. "I've been working on something, documenting the sacrifices I've made. I want to show my mother the truth." Mark raised an eyebrow, leaning in with interest. "And what's the goal? Do you think it's going to change her mind?" "I don't know," Lucy admitted, "but it's time she realizes the impact of her words and expectations. Maybe if I can express it clearly, she'll understand that I have ambitions too." He nodded thoughtfully, placing his cup down. "That sounds empowering, but it won't be easy. You're not just confronting your mother, but also what you've allowed yourself to feel about your choices." "I'm aware of that," she replied, her tone determined. "But I can't stay in this cycle. I need to prioritize my own happiness." After their conversation, Lucy took her resolve further. She decided to meet with Julia, her cousin who had witnessed the family dynamics firsthand. They chose a quiet coffee shop where people rarely interrupted their conversations, allowing for a more open discussion. "I'm so sorry about what Mom said," Julia started, her voice soft. "She sometimes doesn't realize the weight of her words." Lucy met Julia's eyes, feeling the sincerity, a rare moment of solidarity. "I appreciate that, I really do. But it's time I make some changes. I'm stepping back from being her primary caretaker." Julia looked taken aback for a moment, then nodded slowly. "I get it. You've given so much. But do you think she'll understand?" "I hope so," Lucy replied, her heart pounding. "If I can show her how hard I've worked and how much I've sacrificed, maybe she'll be able to see me for who I really am, not just as her daughter, but as me, Lucy, the nurse, the ambitious woman who wants to follow her dreams." Fueled by a newfound sense of purpose, Lucy returned home that evening. The flickering glow of her laptop beckoned her to gather her documentation, the sacrifices, pain, and beauty of her decision to change. And that night, as the moonlight filled her room, she crafted a heartfelt email to her family, outlining her decision to put her dreams first. It would be the hardest email she would ever write, but the clarity of her purpose propelled her fingers across the keyboard like a musician tapping out a new melody. Subject: A new chapter. My journey forward. As she clicked send, Lucy felt a mix of fear and relief course through her. Whatever the fallout, she was ready to confront her past and stand firm on her path to reclaiming her life, one courageous step at a time. As she closed her laptop, a wave of exhaustion swept over her, but beneath it was a flicker of excitement. Change was on the horizon. Lucy was ready for whatever came next. Lucy woke up the next morning, the sun filtering through the blinds, casting striped shadows across her room. She felt different somehow, a mix of anxiety and determination swirling within her. The echo of her mother's insult from the live stream lingered in her mind, fueling her resolve. She could no longer accept being defined by others' perceptions of her worth. With renewed purpose, Lucy opened her laptop and began to organize her thoughts. She created a new document titled, "My Sacrifices," and laid out everything she had sacrificed over the years to care for her mother. Each point felt cathartic, a way to reclaim her story. Abandoning my nursing dreams. The countless hours spent studying for exams, the late nights immersed in textbooks, all dashed away to prioritize a family duty. Oh, those overtime shifts. The late nights that turned into mornings, working weekends and holidays, while my friends celebrated life milestones I could not attend. Emotional turmoil. Watching my mother struggle, feeling the weight of her dependency, and realizing just how much I had lost in the fight to keep our family afloat. As she typed, memories washed over her. Pictures of friends celebrating birthdays without her, of herself sitting alone, coffee in hand, wishing she could join them. She felt anger bubble up, but also a strange sense of clarity. This was her life, and it was time to take it back. Later that week, Lucy forged ahead with her plans. She met with Mark again, keen to share her progress. They chose a corner table in their favorite cafe, sunlight streaming through the window, casting warmth over their conversation. "You seem more resolved today," Mark said, observing the determination in her eyes as he stirred his coffee. "What's going on?" "I've decided to confront my mother," Lucy declared, the weight of the words both liberating and daunting. "I've documented everything, all my sacrifices, my hours spent working. I want her to understand what I've given up." Mark nodded, support radiating from him. "That's brave. But do you think she'll really get it?" "I hope so," Lucy replied, her voice steady. "But even if she doesn't, I need to speak my truth. I can't be her emotional crutch any longer." As she contemplated her next steps, Lucy reached out to Julia, hoping for her cousin's insight. They arranged to meet at a quaint coffee shop, one where the baristas remembered their names and orders. The atmosphere was comforting, a stark contrast to the turmoil she felt inside. "Thanks for meeting me," Lucy started, a slight tremor in her voice. "I really need to talk about the dinner and what Mom said." Julia nodded, her expression serious. "She can be, well, harsh, but she doesn't realize how much those words hurt." "I know," Lucy said, gathering her thoughts, "but I want to confront her. I can't keep living under this weight of guilt for wanting to pursue my own dreams. I'm stepping back from my role as her caretaker." "Wow," Julia replied, surprise flickering across her face. "That's big. Are you sure you're ready for the backlash? Mom will be upset." "Maybe," Lucy said, her heartbeat quickening, but her resolve remained firm. "But I can't be defined by her expectations. It's time to show her that I have ambitions too, to be Lucy, not just her daughter." With a final sigh of determination, Lucy returned home that evening. The familiar glow of her laptop screen beckoned her closer. She crafted a detailed email to her family, outlining the sacrifices she'd made and her decision to pursue her dreams first. Subject: a new chapter, my journey forward. As she typed, her heart raced with each word. The letter was both a farewell to her past identity and a proclamation of her future. She hit send with trembling hands, feeling both exhilarated and terrified. Whatever reactions awaited her, she knew they would not deter her. When she closed her laptop, a wave of exhaustion enveloped her, but underneath was a newfound excitement, a flicker of hope for a future filled with possibilities. She had taken the first big step toward reclaiming her life, and for the first time in years, Lucy felt truly ready for whatever came next. Lucy awoke to the sunlight streaming through her window, a renewed sense of purpose radiating from within her. The weight of her decision hung in the air, yet there was an exhilarating freedom that she hadn't felt in a long time. With her email sent, she was ready to face whatever her family's reaction would be. As she brewed her morning coffee, the scent filling her kitchen, she couldn't shake the excitement that tingled in her veins, the excitement of change. A few days passed, and the fallout from her declaration began to unfold in unexpected ways. The initial shockwaves rippling through her family were palpable. Her phone buzzed incessantly with messages from concerned relatives, some supportive, others filled with guilt and anger. "Lucy, how could you?" her mother exclaimed in a group text. "I've done everything to support you while you chased your dreams in real estate." "Mom, this isn't about you," Lucy replied, a fierce determination in her fingers as she typed. "I need to focus on my own life and goals." The day after she sent her email, Lucy met with Mark at their usual cafe. As she sipped on her latte, she noticed the furrowed brow that he wore. "How are you holding up?" he asked gently, concern etched across his face. "I think it's what I needed, but man, the backlash is intense," Lucy replied, running a hand through her hair in frustration. "I thought I'd feel liberated, but it's like opening a floodgate they weren't ready for." Mark nodded. "Change is tough for everyone, but you're right to prioritize your happiness. What's your plan now?" "I'm enrolling in nursing school next semester, and I've already started preparing my applications. It's time I focused on what I truly want," Lucy said, her voice a mix of resolve and excitement. "That's amazing," Mark encouraged, a smile breaking through his earlier worry. "You deserve this. Just remember, it's okay to set boundaries with your family." That Saturday, Lucy found herself in the grocery store, a mundane chore that felt anything but typical today. As she leaned over to grab a carton of almond milk, she spotted her mother, Linda, at the other end of the aisle, chatting animatedly with Aunt Morin. The cheerful tone seemed dissonant to Lucy's heart. She hesitated, debating whether to turn around and leave, but something within compelled her to approach. "Mom," Lucy said, trying to maintain her composure as she joined them. Linda turned and the smile faded almost instantaneously. "Lucy, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be off chasing your foolish dreams somewhere?" She attempted to inject a lightness into her words, but the sting was clear. "Aunt Morin was just telling me how much she's missed you, Lucy," Aunt Morin interjected, hoping to lighten the mood. "You've been so busy." "Yeah, well, it's time I focus on what I want," Lucy shot back, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Mom, this isn't about forsaking my responsibilities, it's about taking care of myself too. I can't be your primary caretaker anymore." Linda's face twisted slightly at Lucy's words. "But I need you. Who else will take care of me?" Lucy took a breath, steadying herself against the onslaught of familiar guilt. "And who will take care of me, Mom? You taught me to be strong, to chase my passions. It's time I followed that advice for myself." She felt a mixture of fear and liberation as she spoke, the words pouring out like water that had been pooling too long. She couldn't allow her mother's expectations to weigh her down any longer. "Lucy!" Linda exclaimed, frustration mixing with hurt in her eyes. "You're being selfish." "Maybe I am, but maybe that's not such a bad thing," Lucy countered, her heart racing but resolute. "I deserve to prioritize my happiness." Aunt Morin watched the exchange, her expression torn between sympathy for Lucy and concern for Linda. "You both love each other," she interjected, attempting to mend the rift. "Maybe we should all sit down and talk this out. Family matters like this are best solved with communication." Later that evening, Lucy found herself back at her apartment, still simmering from the confrontation at the store. She reflected on how, as frustrated as she was, she also felt proud. The chains of guilt that had bound her for so long were beginning to loosen. As she sank into her couch, her thoughts wandered to her nursing aspirations, how each day she put off her dream only added to her list of sacrifices. It was then that her phone chimed with a new message. It was Mark. "How about a study session tomorrow? You'll ace those nursing applications." A smile crept across her face as she read his words. Yes, this was her path forward. She replied immediately, agreeing to meet. The following weeks saw Lucy throw herself into her studies and applications. She attended every event related to nursing, reconnecting with a network of people she had long forgotten. Every interaction reminded her of why she had initially chosen that path, reigniting a passion within her. Amidst the chaos, she received a regular stream of texts from family members, some still expressing disappointment, while others started to rally behind her. Aunt Susan came to visit one afternoon, sitting beside her on the couch, a small box in hand. "Thought you might need this," Susan said, handing over the box filled with nursing supplies. "When you start school, you'll need all the support you can get. Just remember, it's never too late to pursue what you love." An unexpected warmth spread through Lucy's chest. "Thank you, Aunt Susan. Your support means the world." As she closed the door behind Susan, Lucy felt a profound shift. She was taking steps toward what she genuinely wanted, not just for herself, but for her mother and their fractured relationship. Although the road ahead was uncertain, she knew that rediscovering her purpose was the key to healing for both of them. Lucy was breaking free, and while she had much to navigate for the first time in years, she was finally excited about the future. Lucy woke up the next morning to the bright sunlight streaming through her window, illuminating the small, cluttered corners of her bedroom. The air felt lighter, energizing her for the day ahead. It had been several weeks since her confrontation with her mother at the grocery store, and every moment since had been filled with complex emotions, fear, guilt, and a growing sense of liberation. Today was special. Lucy's hard work had finally paid off. She was scheduled to receive an award at her real estate firm for achieving the highest sales in her first year. It was more than just a recognition of her professional achievements. It was validation that she was capable of success on her own terms. The excitement bubbled in her chest as she pictured herself standing on stage, her name announced to the applause of her colleagues. As she prepared for the award ceremony, Lucy slipped into a tailored black dress that hugged her figure just right. She styled her hair into soft waves, a refreshing change from her usual pulled-back ponytail. Staring at her reflection, she felt a surge of confidence she hadn't experienced in years. This was not just about the award, it was about reclaiming her identity that had been subtly overshadowed by her role as a caretaker. When she arrived at the venue, a sleek conference center adorned with balloons and banners celebrating the firm's achievements, she was greeted by her coworkers. Their smiles and congratulations were heartfelt. Mark, waiting near the entrance, waved her over, his eyes gleaming with pride. "You look amazing, Lucy. You've earned this," he said, wrapping her in a warm hug. "Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate the support you've always given me, especially through these past few weeks," she replied, her voice wavering slightly with emotion. As the ceremony began, Lucy sat among her peers, listening to stories of perseverance and hard work. When it was finally her turn to receive the award, she walked up to the stage with a renewed sense of purpose. The applause felt like a warm embrace, lifting her spirit. "Thank you, everyone," she began, her voice steady as she looked out into the sea of familiar faces. "This award is not just a reflection of my work in real estate. It represents the journey I've been on to rediscover my identity and passion. For too long, I let the expectations of others dictate my self-worth, and I lost myself in the process." The crowd was quiet, captivated by her honesty. Lucy continued passionately, her words flowing freely. "I sacrificed so much to care for my family, and while I cherish those moments, it's time for me to prioritize my own dreams. This award marks a new chapter for me, one where I strive to balance my love for real estate with my ongoing pursuit of nursing." As she finished her speech, the audience erupted in applause. a mix of admiration and surprise at her vulnerability. Lucy stepped down, her heart racing. But this time it was with joy, not fear. She had taken control of her narrative, intertwining her two passions, and it felt incredible. Days turned into weeks, and Lucy continued to excel in her real estate careers while diligently preparing for nursing school. Each successful sale and happy client fueled her desire to do well in her academic pursuits. She found herself surrounded by a supportive network of friends and family, all cheering her on. Then one afternoon, she received an unexpected call from Aunt Susan. "Lucy, I've been following your accomplishments, and I just want to say how proud I am of you," she said, her voice warm but tinged with concern. "Linda's been talking about you a lot, and it sounds like she's having a tough time accepting your choices." Lucy felt a pang of guilt at the thought of her mother's struggles, but she was resolute. "I appreciate your support, Aunt Susan. I know my mom is struggling, but I can't be her emotional crutch anymore. I need to focus on my own future." "I understand. Just remember, communication is key," Susan advised. "Maybe it's time to have another chat with Linda. It could help heal some of the rifts." A few days later, with a heart full of dread and resolve, Lucy decided to visit her mother. She arrived at the house, the familiar smell of her mother's favorite lavender candles wafting through the air. As she entered, she found Linda sitting on the couch, surrounded by piles of paperwork. "Lucy, you came," Linda said, her voice a mixture of surprise and resentment. "I thought you were too busy with your own life now." Taking a deep breath, Lucy chose her words carefully. "I wanted to talk, Mom. I know things have been difficult between us since I sent that email. I'm sorry if it hurt you." Linda's expression softened momentarily before hardening again. "You gave up on us, Lucy, just like that." "No, Mom, I didn't give up. I gave myself the chance to live my own life, to reclaim my dreams," Lucy responded, her voice steady. "I love you and will always want what's best for us, but I cannot continue being the only person holding the pieces together." Silence fell in the room, punctuated only by the ticking of the clock on the wall. Lucy felt her heart race, waiting for her mother's response. "Maybe I'm selfish for wanting you here," Linda finally admitted, her voice small. "I need you, Lucy. And I want to help you, but I can't do it to the detriment of my own future," Lucy insisted gently. "I want us both to heal and grow. Maybe we can find a balance together." Tears filled Linda's eyes as she looked at her daughter. "I don't want to lose you, Lucy." "You won't lose me, Mom, but I need you to understand that it's okay for both of us to pursue our dreams, even if they're different," Lucy offered, hoping her words would resonate. As they talked late into the evening, Lucy realized that while the path to healing was far from over, there was a flicker of hope. They discussed options for Linda's care, exploring home health aides and support groups. It was a delicate balance to maintain independence while still being there for one another. Over the next few months, Lucy continued to excel in both her careers. She entered nursing school, where she thrived in her courses and bonded with her classmates, each equally passionate about their chosen field. She organized study sessions and volunteer opportunities, helping others while further solidifying her own ambitions. By the time she graduated from nursing school, Lucy stood on the stage again, this time in her cap and gown, her heart swelling with pride. As she received her diploma, she spotted Linda in the audience, tears glistening in her eyes, a proud smile finally breaking through. Lucy knew the journey of rebuilding their relationship would take time, but she was hopeful. Now, more than ever, she was not just Lucy, the daughter, or Lucy, the caretaker. She was Lucy, the nurse and real estate agent, all rolled into one. She had reclaimed her identity, and while the road ahead might be filled with challenges, it was hers to navigate, driven by passion and purpose. Lucy was ready to embrace the world ahead, no longer just defined by her mother's expectations, but by her own dreams and aspirations.